Welcome to another episode of Game Boy Roulette, where we take a look at randomly chosen games from the Game Boy library. Quest Brian's Journey. Hey, that's me. Sadly, it's not me. No, this is a rare kind of game, something we don't see a whole lot of. A demake. Not remaking the game for a new generation, or even a port that brings the game to a different system, but taking something and remaking it significantly smaller, translating mechanics to less complex systems. It's definitely something that has become more popular in modern times, with games like Bloodborne PSX or Disco Elysium for the Game Boy. I've always loved demakes. I love the idea of trying to take something super advanced and shrinking it down while still making it feel like the same game. I can't tell you how many hours I have put into Flash Portal and Super Smash Flash. In the case of Quest, it was a demake of a Nintendo 64 RPG called Quest 64. The N64 game was developed by Imagineer, while the Game Boy Color version was made 2 years later by Atelier Double. But to address the large elephant that keeps giving me the side-eye from the corner of the room, the thing about Quest 64 is that it wasn't very good. It was a fairly bland RPG where you gained stats based on your actions. So, for example, getting hit with attacks leveled up your defense. There's also no money system, dumbing things down further, and the rest of the gameplay doesn't really do anything beyond the bare minimum to be considered an RPG. But hey, maybe that means a demake is just the thing to make it work. After all, it appears it already was pretty thoroughly demade when it was on the N64. The box art is simple but charming. I know it's weird, but I've always been a fan of box art that uses this torn parchment effect. The font is nice too, and I like that Brian there is ready for action, but you can tell that this is absolutely not me. My club is way bigger. So, who's up for some de-evolution? Let's go adventuring with Quest Brian's Journey. Sunsoft. Oh right, they had a hand in publishing this. That's always interesting. Ooh, Quest RPG. Brian's Journey. I've actually seen it called both Quest and Quest RPG. I kind of prefer just Quest. But anyway, let us begin. An island where magical sprites... Oh, God, this is slow. The four spirits. Wind, water, up. Yep, there it is. Very, very baseline RPG stuff. I think they're trying to sell me a vacation home here. Man, they are establishing the hell out of this setting. Oh, wait. The young apprentice Brian. It's me. I see the little propeller on top of their head. That's probably Brian. It's here again. Today, we will get you. Good, we've got it. Oh, and roll credits. We did it. I'm still not in control. Okay, good night. Okay, I know RPGs have a lot of setup time, but boy, this is taking a while. Still not in control. Oh my god, I can play. Okay, let's see. Wind. Rock. Fire, water. Okay, so my spells are all on that, on my, D-pad. So I want to make sure to play up until the combat, but so far, plot-wise, very Hi. The fire. Oh, that upgraded the spell. But yeah, plot-wise, some of the RPGs I've played, like Great Greed, have totally grabbed me just from being absurd and funny. This one, again, just like the N64 reviewed, it's just very standard. Okay, you know what? Now that we've already seen pretty basic gameplay, we might as well swap on over to the Game Boy Color version. Oh yeah! Yeah, this looks great. A little bit on the simplistic color side, but for an RPG, I'm okay with that. Suspicious characters loading about this town. Team Rocket's at it again. Are you going on patrol today? I don't know. No one is explaining anything to me. On one hand, yes, it takes time to get to the, the meat of the game. But on the other, they should start off with something. Pokemon, you're picking your starter right out of the gate. Great Greed had just an absurd story that hooked me. You gotta have something, and this one just doesn't have anything so far. Oh, the powers of the Great Spirit. On a dark night in the deep woods, there is an unfathomable power. Who's there? Now that I've seen you, you are not leaving here alive. Battle! What? This is not what I thought I'd do. A. B. Rock. Bonk. Okay! This is kind of an interesting combat mechanic. So I can only move around this square to reposition myself. Let me hit B and we'll do fireball. Interesting. Are you allergic to water? Yes. Oh, he exploded. Wow, I have a good jump. Okay. The game, plot-wise, is kind of boring, and I wouldn't call the combat amazing, but it is sort of interesting. It's a different take on turn-based combat. You know what, hang on. I want to look something up really quick. Okay, the game does have the same leveling system as on the N64, but you can do things such as increasing your movement range in battle. You can use your staff to attack. On N64, I don't quite think it worked, but here, I think it's working better. Bart is missing. We can only pray and wait for a safe return. Isn't that Bart? No. Grand Abbot has summoned Brian. Yeah, I'm in the room. Okay, I want to do one more battle, but I'm torn on this game. I think it's worth a look, at least. I had a dream about the future. You'll go on a quest, monsters, go, don't tell what awaits you, go to quest, the time has come for your journey. You literally told me about it. This game definitely has something. I think the demake route was the way to go, because on the N64 it felt very lacking, but here it feels more appropriate. I'm not gonna call this a fantastic RPG, but I do think that as a demake, it is definitely a much... Oh god, the wolf exploded. It is a much better fit than it was on the N64. I think it just works better here. Okay, that's... Each spell's its own attack. One... Uh-oh. Am I about to die? Aww. And thus the quest ended mere minutes after walking out of town. The end. And somewhere in an endless sea of boredom, a flicker of hope. Reviewing RPGs is always an awkward thing because they take longer to get going. So in order to grab your attention, they should do something right out of the gate to hook you. And boy did Quest not have any clue there. The beginning of the game was a long, unskippable cutscene, watching my character run around doing things as I just had to stand there waiting. And yes, that's common for RPGs, but the Game Boy really thrives on games that can jump into the action quickly, the exact opposite of what they did here. And it doesn't help that the story was so mind-numbingly generic, with 4 elements and a young boy on an adventure. It's like it was generated by an AI who had been only fed the first Final Fantasy game. I was ready to move on, but then the combat started, and I'll be honest, it saved the experience. The limited movement, the magic combat, all having different effects and ranges, the unique leveling system, it all kinda came together. It's as perfect a result as a demake can have, taking something that didn't really work on a bigger scale and shrinking it down in a way that made the mechanics feel appropriate. I wouldn't call it a complete success. The story really did nothing, and while the graphics on the Game Boy Color were pleasant, they didn't do enough to elevate it. But I do think the game has something. Maybe it's not much, but it is enough to just keep me intrigued and want to explore the game more. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that this game just barely tips into the realm of getting a recommendation. It's a great example of what can be done when you demake a game. It's not great, but it made the concept work far better than its original version. Although I think I'm required to keep playing. I gotta find out what I do next on my journey. And that's all for another episode of Game Boy Roulette. Make sure to like the video, comment, and subscribe to follow the series as we continue to dig through the Game Boy vault. I'm BrianJ, and I'll see you next time.